Welcome to Voice Daily Finance, the most important news personalized for you every day. Supported by Voice.com.
Coming up on today's show, we have three major stories for you. First, we're diving into a startling 9% surge in health costs, fueled by drugs like Wegovy, and we'll uncover how some employers are quietly guiding workers toward risky, unapproved alternatives to dodge the bill. Then, we'll look at a lawsuit accusing Alphabet's health company Verily of misusing patient data from clients like Walgreens and Delta, and then allegedly covering it all up. And finally, a potential media earthquake. Paramount Skydance is reportedly eyeing a takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery. We'll break down what a CNN-CBS merger could mean and the political storm already surrounding the deal maker David Ellison. Let's start with a number that's causing some serious heartburn in boardrooms. Large employers are bracing for a 9% surge in their health coverage costs, the biggest jump in 15 years, and your wallet might be the one to feel the squeeze. So what's driving this massive spike? It's a 1-2 punch of skyrocketing expenses. First, the cost of cancer treatments, with diagnoses happening at younger ages and later stages. The question is, why is this happening now? Well, research shows a disturbing trend. A study in the journal Cancer Discovery found that between 2010 and 2019, cases for 14 different types of cancer increased among people under 50. The biggest culprits were breast, colorectal, and kidney cancers. Experts point to a mix of lifestyle factors like obesity and diet and potential environmental exposures. What really lit the fuse, though, was the pandemic. A study in JAMA Oncology revealed that cancer diagnoses dropped by almost 10% in 2020 because screenings were delayed. The tragic result is that more cancers are now being found at later, more advanced stages, which are far more complex and costly to treat. The second driver, the explosive demand for GLP-1 weight loss drugs like Wegovy and Zepbound. In fact, companies are projecting a staggering 12% increase in their pharmaceutical costs next year alone. For years, employers have absorbed these rising costs, but the dam is about to break. According to the business group on health, for the first time, companies are indicating they may have no choice but to pass these increases on to employees. But here's where the story takes a more complex turn. Some large employers are quietly pursuing a different strategy. An anonymous telehealth executive revealed that companies are letting workers know they can use health savings accounts to buy these expensive drugs on the cash pay market, often for less. They want employees to have access, they just don't want to be the ones paying for it. Now, get this quiet strategy often steers employees toward what are called compounded drugs. These are custom-made versions of medications that are not FDA approved. The FDA itself warns that these drugs don't go through the same rigorous safety and effectiveness testing. This creates a huge ethical and legal grey area. If an employee is harmed by one of these unregulated treatments, who is liable? It could be the employer who unofficially encouraged it. This path risks creating a two-tiered system where some employees get safe, approved drugs, while others are pushed toward riskier alternatives. And employees are listening. Data shows spending on GLP-1s through direct-to-consumer sites like Lilly Direct has tripled in the last year. This has created a massive new conflict. Employers are now challenging their own pharmacy benefit managers, demanding better deals and exploring ways to negotiate directly with drug manufacturers, a move that could violate existing contracts. This whole situation is sparking a new wave of tech startups and employer coalitions trying to completely bypass these powerful middlemen. Companies like HouseRx are creating systems to deliver specialty drugs directly from clinics to patients. Another company, NPRX Health, is using AI to help pharmacists make better decisions. These groups are fighting for transparency, trying to reveal the secret deals and rebates that drive up prices for everyone. It's a high-stakes stress test for the entire system. A clinically effective drug that changes lives is now forcing a choice about who really pays. This isn't just about one drug anymore. It's a blueprint for how every expensive new therapy will be financed in the future. So this whole situation is forcing two major ideas to the forefront. The first is called outcomes-based pricing. The idea is simple. You only pay for what works. If a drug doesn't deliver the promised health outcome, like lowering a patient's A1C levels, the cost is reduced. The second is direct employer contracting, where big companies skip the middlemen entirely and negotiate prices straight with the drug makers. These are the models being tested right now in the fight over GLP-1s, and they could define how we pay for all high-cost medicine for years to come. The question is, who will win the battle over the bill? we were just talking about the rising costs of healthcare and the extreme measures companies are considering. Now, let's shift our focus to the tech side of the industry, where the currency isn't just money, but data. And one of Alphabet's health companies is in hot water for allegedly misusing it. A bombshell lawsuit is rocking Verily, a health tech company from Alphabet. A former executive alleges the company used the health data of more than 25,000 patients without authorization and then actively covered it up. To really get what's going on here, you have to understand Verily's DNA. It was born out of Alphabet's X moonshot factory. The whole culture there is move fast and iterate. Build things quickly, test them, break them, and learn. That's fantastic for developing self-driving cars or delivery drones, but it's a culture that can clash spectacularly with the world of healthcare, which is all about being slow, careful, and meticulously compliant with regulations. This case is a perfect storm of those two worlds colliding. The allegations come from Ryan Sloan, a former chief commercial officer at Verily's diabetes unit. In a lawsuit, he claims he was fired after discovering and reporting extensive violations of HIPAA, the law that protects patient data. The lawsuit alleges this wasn't just some technical mistake, and the implications are huge. We're talking about the alleged use of what's called protected health information, or PHI, in things like marketing campaigns and even press releases, all without getting the proper patient consent. This goes to the heart of what HIPAA is designed to prevent the unauthorized use of your most sensitive personal information, but the rabbit hole goes deeper. According to the suit, an internal investigation at Verily actually confirmed multiple breaches across 14 separate business agreements. These agreements were with massive clients, including Walgreens Boots Alliance, Quest Diagnostics, and Delta Airlines. And the fallout doesn't just stop with Verily. Legal experts point out that the ultimate responsibility for protecting employee data can often fall back on the employer. So companies like Delta and Walgreens could face their own legal and reputational nightmares if their chosen health tech vendor violates the law. This could have a massive chilling effect on the entire corporate wellness industry, making employees everywhere question whether they can trust these programs. And here's the alleged cover-up. Instead of notifying the affected parties within the legally required 60 days, the lawsuit claims Verily decided to delay the decision. It alleges that during a contract negotiation with client Highmark Health, Verily falsely represented that it was in compliance with HIPAA, all while knowingly concealing a breach had occurred. So why the alleged cover-up? Well, what really brought this to a head might be the immense financial pressure Verily is under. Verily is one of Alphabet's other bets. These are ambitious, long-term projects that are expected to become huge businesses, but they burn through cash. Despite growing revenue, Verily reportedly lost $540 million in a single year. When you're under that kind of pressure to prove you're commercially viable, the temptation to cut corners on compliance or hide a massive failure to secure a contract can become overwhelming. The company's now suppressed a press release and terminated 2 other employees who are aware of the breaches, according to the filing. For its part, Verily says the allegations are completely without merit and that it will defend itself to the full extent of the law. The case puts a harsh spotlight on the high-stakes world of big tech moving into healthcare, and it all begs the question, what happens when a company's data-driven business model collides with the sanctity of private medical information? Speaking of corporate giants making high-stakes moves, another massive deal is brewing in the media world that could create a new titan or a spectacularly indebted one. Reports are swirling that Paramount Skydance is preparing an offer to buy the entire Warner Brothers Discovery business. The news sent shares of Warner Brothers Discovery soaring 29%, with Paramount Skydance jumping 16%. This potential takeover presents a fascinating duality. On one side, a media empire in the making, while on the other, a high-stakes financial gamble that could cripple it from the start. Warner Brothers Discovery is already shouldering massive debt, reportedly over $37 billion from its own recent merger. Acquiring it through what's known as a leveraged buyout would pile on even more debt. The risk is creating a media giant so financially fragile it's forced into constant cost cutting and selling off assets, which could stifle creativity for years to come. This isn't just a small deal. We're talking about a potential media empire combining news network CNN, HBO, and the film studio behind Barbie and Harry Potter with CBS News and hits like Yellowstone and Top Gun Maverick. A merger of this scale would face an immediate and intense regulatory battle. The current Department of Justice has been much more aggressive in challenging large-scale media mergers. The combination of two major news networks, CNN and CBS, would be a massive red flag for regulators concerned about too much market concentration and would likely face the most intense scrutiny. To even have a chance at approval, the companies might be forced to sell off major assets. This would mark a massive consolidation in the US media industry, which has already been dramatically reshaped by the rise of streaming. And speaking of streaming, that reminds me of the massive technical headache this creates. The new company would control Max, Discovery Plus, and Paramount Plus. You can't just flip a switch and combine them into one super streamer. Merging different code bases, user account databases, and content delivery networks is incredibly complex and risks huge service disruptions. The launch of Max, which combined HBO Max and Discovery Plus, is a perfect example. It was plagued by login issues and app crashes, and the company actually lost 1.8 million subscribers in the months that followed. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is the man behind the bid, David Ellison, whose own recent $8 billion merger to acquire Paramount has already been steeped in political controversy. See, David Ellison isn't your typical Hollywood studio head. He comes from a tech dynasty. This means he brings a Silicon Valley mindset to Hollywood, one focused on disruption, scale, and data. We're already seeing this in how Skydance partnered with Oracle to build a cloud-based animation studio, making production faster and cheaper. This isn't just about buying studios, it's about reshaping them with a tech playbook. His father is Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, an ally of former President Trump, who this week briefly overtook Elon Musk as the world's richest person, worth more than $380 billion. The previous Paramount takeover plunged the younger Ellison into politics. The deal faced a lengthy approval process due to a row over a legal battle involving Donald Trump. It was only settled after Paramount agreed to a $16 million payment that will go to a future presidential library. Democrats have called that payment a bribe, an accusation Paramount has denied. As part of that deal's approval, Skydance committed to ending Paramount's diversity programs and appointing an ombudsman to review complaints of bias. And this isn't just a random policy change. The research suggests it could be part of a deliberate strategy. The elimination of these diversity, equity, and inclusion programs was reportedly a condition for regulatory approval of the Paramount deal. This, combined with the new ombudsman to review bias, raises serious questions about a potential ideological shift toward a more center-right orientation for the entire media conglomerate. Following the deal, it was also announced that The Late Show with Stephen Colbert would end its run in 2026. And in a sign of the existing rivalry, Paramount recently poached the satirical series South Park from Warner's own HBO. Now, with a potential full takeover on the table, this all begs the question, is this just another business deal or the beginning of a politically charged media consolidation that could reshape everything we watch?
That's it for today on Voice Daily Finance. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.